Okay. Oh, all right. So, all right. Listen, man. I threw up in my mouth when I saw this. This is from Woj and Ramona Shelburne.
Unbelievable.
Sources: Warriors may bid for LeBron James at trade deadline. The Warriors. This is after LeBron was putting, his little hourglass emoji tweets or whatever, expressing frustration in his LeBron way. The Warriors. This is at the highest levels. This is Joe Lacob to Jeannie Buss. Like, the Warriors inquired about LeBron's availability. And they weren't alone. Daryl Morey, by the way, I don't understand why people just don't block Daryl Morey's number. Like, apparently Daryl Morey just, like, he be prank calling people, like, he calling everybody, like, yo. But the funniest line of the whole thing was when he called Pelinka, Morey called Pelinka to ask if LeBron was available, and Pelinka responded, was Joel Embiid available? Like in fantasy football, when somebody sends you an insulting offer, you are required to counter with a more insulting offer.
It'd be like, yo, get off the phone.
Why are we on the phone right now? Like, why are you calling me? Like, but the Warriors, this was serious. I mean, this was like some serious back channel. Like, so just to recap it in case y'all don't feel like reading, I'll do my best because read the whole thing. But apparently, Lacob went to Jeannie. Jeannie said, talk to Rich Paul if you want to take the temperature on LeBron James, which is kind of like borderline permission to seek a trade if you want type shit. But okay, talk to Rich Paul and see where LeBron is. But because Jeannie was like, hey, we don't want hostages, we want volunteers. Wants her players to be there, right. Which I respect that. Okay, so they go to Rich Paul. Rich Paul says, no, we're good. Draymond Green, out here trying to, another Kevin Durant recruiting situation, trying to recruit LeBron James. I mean, this is interesting stuff. Like, this is not just a cursory phone call. These were conversations that went nowhere, but the fact that these conversations took place nonetheless is fascinating and nauseating. Fascinating and nauseating at the same time. Like,
why nauseating?
That's where I would have had to draw the line. I would have had to draw the line there. Look, Chris Paul at this stage of his career is one thing. Like, no, I never thought I would see Chris Paul as a teammate of Steph Curry's in a Warriors uniform. Yeah, I mean, okay, like, so much time has passed since they were at the same level. That day is dead. The idea of LeBron James as a teammate of Steph Curry's and Draymond Green's, man, like, I don't. That's a part of the multiverse I don't want to touch. Like, no, thank you. Like, no, thank you. That would have turned me off in a way that no other. And I've never been one of these people that had a problem with players teaming up or taking control of their own destiny. And especially
this was not LeBron asking for that.
It was not. Wasn't asking but nonetheless,
he was being
exactly.
sought.
This was well. Let them tell it. Let them tell it. Like, whenever I see stories like this, there's a story behind the story. Okay? So there's probably another version of this story in which somebody is doing this when it comes to the information that's being leaked out. There's some agendas at play here that I'm not qualified or educated enough or enlightened enough to truly unpack, but I don't think this story sees the light of day without certain people being okay with it. All right?
Okay.
Because so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm just simply saying to say that LeBron's hands are nowhere near this, I don't know. Even if it's just for attention, even if it's just to say, hey, I got this option coming up this year. I don't know. Who knows why LeBron moves like he moves. But it's worked for him. But this would not have worked for me. I'm sure they could have coexisted. I'm sure it could have been, they would have found a way to share the court because that's what Steph does. That's what LeBron does. It's not even about but that just feels too NBA 2K-ish for me. That's just where it get like when I read that, I was like, oh, thank God that didn't happen. Thank God that was shut down because I'm not gonna go so far as to say that would have ruined the NBA for me. No, I'm not that old. I'm not yelling at clouds that loudly. I'm not telling everybody to get completely off my lawn. Just don't park your car on my lawn. And that's what this would have been for me. This would have been the NBA parking its car on this old man's lawn if LeBron James and Steph Curry would have been teammates come the trade deadline. I'm not ready for that, because and mainly because it's one thing for somebody who has never done anything from a team standpoint, like a Damian Lillard, to say, you know what, I'm tired of doing this on my own. I'm going to link up with Giannis, who is the superior player, has won a championship. It's one thing for young LeBron, who was like, hey, it ain't happening for me in Cleveland right now. I got to go get my master's in Miami, and I'm going to go join Dwayne Wade's franchise, but it's going to be my team. Okay, that's different. It's one thing for Chris Paul to be like, you know what, I gave my best shot, and I've been traded, and I've been bought out, and now I'm just going to go sign with my former arch rival on my last days and my last legs to see if I can help extend this dynasty. That's all understandable. The idea of LeBron James still at, I'm not saying the peak of his powers, but still
pretty
elite
damn
player,
good. Yes.
Joining up with Steph, who's still at the peak of his powers. Like,
right.
No thank you. No thank you. So this was the basketball guys looking out for us.
It'd be fun, and it'd be fun, and it would.
That'd be effed up and foul.
No,
who?
it would be fun. Because I'll tell you, what it would also, it would change, it would challenge people to get out of their little narrative, their very narrow narrative lanes, these little narrative silos, and now it's going to mess you up. Because if I'm not mistaken, how many championships has Steph Curry won in his career? 4, right?
Yeah.
How many championships has LeBron won in his career? 4. So they win together.
So what do you do if they win one together? Oh,
they win one together. Yeah, now they both have 5, and you get into that whole, hey, they both got 5. They won number 5 together.
I feel like they should sign a prenuptial agreement. I feel like a prenuptial agreement.
Here's the other thing.
Like, you had what you had in a relationship. I had what I had when I came in a relationship.
I want to expose people too. I like when people are exposed, because I think everybody should play together in the NBA, because when you don't have to deal with another player, you start finding holes that don't exist, and you start hating on other players. Hey, LeBron's never done this. But now, Natalie, if LeBron's a warrior, you can't hate on him. You can't hate on him. He's a warrior, especially if he wins the championship.
Natalie, I don't even need Natalie to say anything. The look on Natalie's face when we brought her in to FaceTime said it all. Said it all. Because when I saw this story, I was like, I know Natalie has to be relieved. I know she had to be sickened. So I know she agrees with me. The look on her face said that she agreed with me, that she is thankful that this did not happen.
It was nasty. It was nasty. I was like really disgusted when I saw it. Like it was one of the most disgusting things I've ever read.
Oh, stop it, y'all.
No, I'm not. It was disgusting.
Why?
And immediately other people I know were texting me. Like my phone started blowing up. For one, and I go a little bit further than Mike. I am an old school NBA person. I don't like all this buddy shit. So while I'm not opposed to people switching teams, I remember back in the All-Star game some years ago when it was like the big
Natalie,
three Celtics.
You're 21 years old. What you talking about?
Whatever. I remember that All-Star game. They were there, the 4 Celtics. They were in their little silo. They wasn't trying to fool anybody. It was an all-star game, and they were still like, nah. You know what I'm saying? I like that. Bring that back. Right. I don't like this buddy. LeBron and Steph are the faces of the NBA. They are rivals. Their fans go at each other. They have no business ever playing on a team together. It's better for the NBA. Those ratings are better when they come on and they play against each other and go to multiple overtime games. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see them playing together. It is nasty. Yes, and contrary to popular belief, Warriors fans are still having a hard time wrapping their heads around Chris Paul. You want them to wrap their heads around LeBron James? No.
It's different. First of all, Chris Paul, he ain't even playing. You got to work. He's just on the bench.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just mentioning because Mike earlier said Chris Paul, but I'm telling you, like, Warriors fans
but LeBron's another
their
level.
stomachs still turn a little bit.
No, but I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that Warriors fans still find that weird, to have somebody they once hated now in their house. I'm not saying that. Obviously, you would know. I'm more or less saying, like, from a I'm gonna use the word, from a legacy standpoint, Chris Paul and what he was. That's okay.
For sure.
This doesn't matter. In his story, him playing with the Warriors, nobody remember this. Like, oh yeah, he did finish with the Warriors. Like, but like LeBron as a Warrior, because like, okay, if LeBron, why you, Michael, you just trolling. You gotta be just trolling. I know. I know you
I don't
are
see the
not
problem.
feeling
It's
this.
nasty.
I don't see the problem.
Exactly
I really,
right.
I'm waiting for y'all. I'm waiting for the I see what you're saying. I enjoy it. I think it'd be great. Look,
because rivalries are great
they're
for
both,
the NBA.
Can we just be honest about where the Warriors and Lakers are right now? They're both play-in teams. So they're play-in teams, both of them. And so if you put LeBron on the Warriors are not a play-in team anymore. Now we're looking at a team that's going to I'll go old school for you. It would be like when the Rockets in their second championship, they bring in Clyde Drexler. They're a number 6 seed, and everybody's afraid of them. Rightfully so. They win a championship. You put LeBron on this play-in Warriors team at number 10, just behind the Lakers at number 9. Watch out. Entertainment. I'd love to see the ball movement. I'd love to see Steph setting up LeBron and vice versa. Oh, man, that'd be fun. I'd love to see it. Great basketball.
It wouldn't be. First of all.
And hold on. Let me I'll say this, then I'm going to pass the ball to you, Natalie.
Go ahead.
Don't act like y'all above it in the Bay Area. Don't act like y'all above it.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, they are.
Kevin Durant was there. Kevin Durant was there for 2 championships.
Durant had not won
He's not homegrown. He's not homegrown. Y'all beat him in the playoffs and he came to join you.
It's not about being homegrown. Steph and
What's it
LeBron
about?
I know that you are not as high on Steph as you should be, Michael Holley, but Kevin Durant is not in the
top 15 player.
No, he's much higher than that. But Kevin Durant is not in the LeBron or Steph legacy conversations. He has 2 rings. He hasn't done anything without the Warriors since he left. And he's probably not going to do anything with Phoenix or anyone else ever. So, whether you consider Steph in LeBron's tier or not, Steph has 4 rings. He is still chasing his building a legacy. As Shaq has already brought up on multiple occasions, should we start talking about Steph? Not saying he's the GOAT, but should we start talking about him? LeBron and Steph have different legacy implications. They do not need to play together. They should not. And
what are those different implications?
Whether it's, okay, will he go down as the best point guard of all time? Where is he going to rank ultimately in the pantheon of NBA greats? Will he get to Rushmore, right? All these different things. He does not need to play with LeBron. Part of the lore of Michael Jordan and some of these past players is what they did, how they did it, their teams that were constructed. Why wouldn't you want to see what Steph can do? I know that you've wiped off the Warriors already, Michael Holley, and I get it because they have not been great this season. However, in their last eight of their last 11 games, they won by more than 17 points. They're above 500 now. No, literally, the team is top 5 in offense, top 10 in offense and defense.
They're in the play-in, Natalie.
Yeah, but they're in the play-in. But Michael, the play-in, they have 25 losses, and the number 5 seed has 22 losses. Like, you're saying that, it sounds bad, but the difference in where they are in the standings right now is very close. And what I'm saying is for a number of games now, not just like a few games, they have been playing much better basketball, and they've had one of the best records
playing great ball
in the NBA.
Kuminga,
right, they have one of the best records in the NBA. So
Kuminga has emerged.
Right.
I like it. They got their bench. They get bench guys that have contributed. I respect that. I do not believe that the Warriors, even playing better basketball, with 30 games to play, roughly 31 games to play in the season, I do not believe they are a championship team as constructed.
Right.
And you told me that. You told me that.
I said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you said as constructed.
Things change. But it's fluid. It's fluid, right? It moves. Things change.
But I think they would be two things. I think they'd be a championship team with LeBron James, depending on what they gave up. And then secondly, you're talking about legacy.
I disagree.
So
they'd have
all
to
those things that you mentioned, okay, but all those things that you mentioned, LeBron already has. So LeBron is already considered top 5 all time. He's considered, behind Jordan, but 2, 3, second or third best player of all time in a lot of circles. So you think Steph playing with LeBron depresses Steph? It keeps him out of that conversation? It doesn't help him? It hurts him?
Look at how Kevin Durant was held against Stephen Curry. Look at how not winning a final MVP was held against him, even though we know that Andre Iguodala.
But he wrote that, but that's done.
Right?
But he answered those questions.
It does. Because LeBron is treated differently than Stephen Curry. He is.
But Natalie, that might have been the case, but I think we've evolved as a society to understand.
We haven't, though. I know you keep saying that, but we haven't.
When it comes to Durant versus Steph, you just said, look at how Kevin Durant in those championships was held against Steph. You don't think people have wised up to who really was the driving force behind those teams? I think generally people have wised up to the reality of Steph Curry having always been the driving force behind this Warriors dynasty.
I think you have. I don't think, not you, because you already kind of thought that, but I think you're giving people more credit.
See, it felt like people were more holding it against Kevin Durant, which you just said a second ago, which is why did he leave the Warriors and what has he done apart from the Warriors? That's the sentiment that, again, my casual observation seems to be more prevalent. The other thing you said,
you always gonna have, and also y'all, you always gonna have internet soldiers fighting. You can't impress everybody.
Right.
There's gonna be some people out there be like, "Oh, Steph ain't."
Internet. It's not just internet.
But who are they? Who?
It's media. It's people who do shows just like us, who talk day to day. It's if you talk to people behind the scenes. It's not. I'm not making this up. It's real, and there is.
But I know I'm saying this. But how? I know it's real, but how? But what media members? Okay, what? Maybe they don't deserve your attention or ours. Do they know what they're talking about in general?
The point is, it doesn't benefit Steph.
They might
be. Hurt.
They might
it
be.
LeBron,
they might be lightweight nobodies if they don't understand what Steph Curry means historically to the game of basketball. They might be nobodies.
So wait. So
or
okay,
misinformed.
But set that aside though. But this the thing this is where we part company, Natalie. I just don't think it would be as fun. I think it'd be formidable. I think they're too good and too resourceful and too versatile for a hypothetical pairing between these two to not be formidable. Obviously, whatever the Warriors hypothetically would have had to give up, notwithstanding. You know what I mean? Who knows what the team would have looked like after they acquired LeBron James. Thankfully, they didn't get that far down the road. They'd be formidable, but not fun. And what I mean by not fun is not that I don't think it would have tarnished either of their legacies. I think who LeBron James is and has been as a player, and who Steph Curry is and has been as a player is airtight, ironclad. Now it's just them adding to it. I don't know that a pairing would have tarnished either of their legacies. I think it would have just been a bad look. It would not have been fun for me as a fan to watch these two rivals, even if they don't hate each other. Like you said, the story of the NBA for the last umpteen years has been their battles against each other, has been their pursuit, their parallel pursuit of GOAT status. You know what I mean? To see them team up, that wouldn't have been any fun. That's just, I'm the type of person, Michael, we talked about this. I take the hard teams on Madden and rebuild them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to trade for all the first, I'm not looking for, we used to call that comp on the playground. I don't know we used to call it comp. When somebody would have a bunch of skeeters on their team, Michael, and they're like, nah, man, y'all can't have that. You can't have Steph and LeBron playing together. That's just unfair for everybody else. That's why I wouldn't like it. But I wouldn't go so far as to say it would tarnish either their legacies, Natalie, because I think their legacies are that undeniable, both of them. They don't need each other, which is why it's nasty. I love your word. It's right. It's nasty because they don't need to do this. They don't need to do this.
Yeah, but I brought up the legacy stuff because, like Michael Holley said, people will have to start thinking, and what if they win 5? It will have no negative impact at all on LeBron James. It will affect.
Oh, I
Steph.
think it would.
So
I know that you're one of those people. You're one of those people who thinks that there's a double standard. when it comes to how LeBron is discussed and how Steph is discussed.
There is.
I understand. Okay. I don't necessarily agree, but I'm not going to argue with you. What I will argue with, as I give it back to you, I just want to interject, not interrupt, is that this will be I can't believe we go down this rabbit hole for something that didn't happen. This is fun, though. Remember when LeBron went to Miami? Okay? And I remember how I felt. This is when I was less evolved. I said, when LeBron went to Miami, he is like Akeem on the subway and coming to America. He must renounce his throne because he was going to join Dwayne Wade's team. If he went to the Warriors and joined Steph Curry's team, he would get roasted, Natalie. LeBron would get roasted.
But I don't know. Maybe. I think
LeBron
LeBron is
that much of a pass.
I do. I don't even think it's the pass. I just think that, like Michael Holley said, that LeBron is in a place now, many consider him only second to Jordan. Some consider him the GOAT, right? You sort of talked about this the other day with the Patrick Mahomes conversation, right? I don't think there's really anything that can hurt him. But contrary to Michael Holley's belief, I don't think Steph is done yet, meaning I don't know that this year's Warriors are going to do anything, but Steph is still at the peak of his powers. They can still make changes this offseason, and his legacy is still building, right? Like we debated earlier before, him versus Magic. Many people consider Magic a top 5 player. So if you elevate Steph above Magic, then what are you saying about Steph, right? There's still conversations to be had about where Steph finishes. With LeBron, it's like you're either going to consider him the GOAT, or for many, he's number 2. So there's not much that's going to change him, but there's still Steph's legacy is still being crafted. And that's why I think they should not, in addition to the fact that I like rivalries, all of these things are better for the NBA.
So selfishly, Steph, you think Steph has more to lose than to gain, is what I'm saying.
You know what?
I think a lot of people would say that. A lot of people who I think are around the Warriors, cover the Warriors, know them. And there's a lot of people who, like Michael Holley, would love to see this. There are a lot of people who would. So I'm not saying, because people talk about it all the time. Yes, because when they were in the All-Star game together, people were like, "Oh my God, just imagine." So there are people who
you don't want to see great players play together. You don't want to see
Steph and LeBron play together. Not those two.
I would not have wanted to see Magic and Bird play together. I would not have wanted to see Jordan and Isaiah play together. I would not have wanted to see Shaq and Olajuwon play together. I would not have wanted to see Russell and Chamberlain play together. These are the types of Titans. This is a clash.
Y'all so old.
I'm old enough to have seen the original Clash of the Titans.
Who's in here?
First time I've been called old on this show. First time I've been called old.
You Generation Xers. You Generation Xers. I don't know what to do with y'all. The old. Hang out with the millennials and the Gen Zs. Look, it's just different. It's different. It's just really a different time. And Natalie, it sounds like you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong here, it sounds like you're saying you don't want anybody messing with the legacy path that Steph is on. And that you think that it's not just Steph winning another championship. It's winning another championship with LeBron. Everybody can't be on the bus. There are certain people on the bus that will mess up Steph's legacy path. And maybe LeBron is the only guy who would mess that up. LeBron or, I don't know, Giannis, another big-time star would take away some of the shine. I
don't think it would have been anybody else. I think LeBron.
It's just LeBron.
Unique. If Giannis would have gone to the Warriors, it wouldn't be the same type of stories. If LeBron, it's just different because LeBron, right, Natalie?
Yeah, and it's not, to me, it's not like really a selfish thing. I've been out fighting in these streets for a long time, so I already know where the narratives would go and things like that. I could be wrong, but I just think it is to his benefit.
I think you're scarred from these fights now.
I may be scarred, but I think
the battles have worn on you, Natalie.
I don't think I'm out of touch, because I have these conversations behind the scenes with people who cover the Warriors very closely, and they tell me sometimes they're debating these kinds of things, and people will say, "Oh, you just covered the team, so you're biased. You don't get it, right?" And they recognize
y'all debating with the wrong. Michael's right about that. Y'all are debating with the wrong people. I want to ask you this though: what is really going on here, though? What is really going on? Like, the whole idea of like Draymond, like, you know, the whole clutch sports incestuous aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like, what's really going on? Where it's like, no, for sure, right? They're colleagues, not even buddies. They're colleagues. They're partners.
Yeah.
But like, but what's really going on here? Like, where did this come from? What is the motivation? What is the underlying agenda here on everybody's part? Whether it's LeBron, who always got a hidden agenda, whether it's the Warriors. I mean, this was next level, literally next level. This wasn't players getting together in the Hamptons. This was ownership reportedly discussing this.
Ownership.
What's really going on here?
But Draymond was sending messages and texts as well. Again.
No, right. No, I'm saying it wasn't just that. It was this escalated all the way to the highest levels. What's really going on with, you know, one dynasty and one individual dynasty?
I think the Warriors have this thing because they're very, and I get it, I guess. They are already spending a lot of money on their roster. So they're just not willing to spend money unless it's a certain player, right? Caliber, name, like something. And I guess that they believe LeBron is that guy. And maybe with the Draymond connection, they thought it could happen. And I will just say, like you said, Michael, there's always more behind the story than we know. LeBron James in the past has said things, just like the way he said he wants to play with the Banana Boat crew. He's also mentioned like, oh, it'd be cool if I could play with Steph one day. You know what I'm saying? So he's put this out there before. It's not like something he hasn't expressed. And so, you know, you take your shot.
Than an ambition.
Right.
Know,
but
like, it'd be great to play with him. He's awesome, but not really, you know?
I don't think either one of them actually really want to play with each other, but you know, who knows? Maybe they do. I don't think that something like this could go through without both Steph and LeBron being on board with it. But either way, it didn't happen. I'm happy. I'm thankful. Like you said, Michael, I was so disgusted. The face that you saw represented how I felt. I don't know what Draymond's angle is, except that LeBron is his buddy. And this way, we don't have to hear him every time LeBron does something like going on and on about him, because now LeBron would be on his team. But yeah, I'm so happy this didn't happen. Like, I'm so happy it didn't happen.
To your point about Steph and like, you know, nothing would happen without his sign off. It's like, if I'm Steph, like, yeah, I love LeBron at a distance. Like it's like somebody being a friend but then being a lover. It's like, nah, man, like we ain't meant to be in a relationship together. We can be cool, but being together, being married, sharing living space, no, I can only take, like, I think if I'm Steph Curry, especially after the Kevin Durant experience, I don't want nobody else. As egoless as Steph Curry is, he's still got an ego. Relatively speaking, his might not be
definitely
as big out front, but he's still got an ego, and that's his organization. And like LeBron James coming in, nah, man, dog, stop sleeping on my couch. Like, that's not how I keep my house. Like, no, like stop writing we don't write our names on shit in the refrigerator around here. Like, no, like put the toilet seat, like all that, like, no, I don't want a roommate. I do not want a roommate. No. Yeah,
and stop with the tweets. Stop with the tweets and subtweets. Right. Stop with that. Okay? No. I got to answer that. I got to answer for you. I'm tired of it. But you know, Steph has said this before. Remember when LeBron, this was a couple of years ago, when LeBron is raving about, oh, Steph, oh, man, you know, you got to guard him coming off the bus. I mean, he's unbelievable, greatest, hands down, greatest shooter. And they asked Steph about playing with LeBron, and Steph was like, I'm good. We're good. Right. In other words, nah, I don't want that. I know Steph wouldn't want it. LeBron clearly wouldn't want it. But as a fan, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it, Natalie.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
But one last thing I want to say really quick.
Natalie, Michael just, this is Michael doing this for just effect. He's just taking the other side. He's just taking the other side. That's what Michael's doing.
Do you guys remember back in the day?
I promise you.
You guys remember back in the day with Magic and Isaiah, how Isaiah talked about like how it was all good with Magic, all the praise, everything, until Isaiah kind of started to challenge Magic. I mean, he didn't really challenge him, but you know, the Pistons got a couple of championships, all of that.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with Bron and Steph, right? Like Bron went to Davidson to watch Steph play.
Right, he was cute.
You were giving my point guard Aziz. Right.
Until he was a threat to
him. And so their relationship is very, no matter what you see of them on the face in public, where it's like, oh, yeah.
It's complicated.
It does not need to go down.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.